If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
In Tomorrowland, everything is planned to fit the theme of things to come. Here, entertaining previews show some of the exciting new developments in store from science and industry.
Then, an idea with 3 dimensions. The result of many months of planning, developing, testing, and construction. The Monsanto House of the Future stands in Tomorrowland. The dream of the future brought to reality by Monsanto. How do we cook? The range is different too. A microwave range that rises out of the counter. Various foods can be cooked here at the same time, and yet everything done just right at amazing speed.
Oh, it would be wonderful. Or maybe, someday.
Yes, this whole thing, the house itself, the furnishings in it, offer a challenging new experience to stimulate your imagination toward newer and better ways of building, furnishing, and using our living space. An idea of what can happen when you take the rats, an idea of some of the elements that undoubtedly you will find when it comes your turn to build your house of the future.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. It's funny how things work. When I was doing the video on magic, showing how Disney uses magic, music uses the word magic, how they've been indoctrinating children to accept, to tolerate, and to want to perform spells and be involved in magic. When I was doing that video and recording clips and going through the Disney videos and Cinderella and all that crap, I came across a clip from Disney, from a video, a VHS they produced. I guess it was back in the 80s. And I saw inside the park there was a sign that said Monsanto. And I said, that can't be a coincidence, can it? And then I did some research on it, and I don't know if people are familiar with this or not. I wasn't aware of this until I researched it. But we have another connection, not only with predictive programming, but connection amongst these large corporations. We know that they use Disney for mind control on the masses. Disney is nothing more than a gigantic form of sorcery and mind control. And Monsanto, who calls itself an agrochemical and agricultural biotechnology corporation, wink, wink, really it's just a chemical corporation who dumps chemicals in our food, how they're affiliated with one another. Wow, what a coincidence, right? Because Monsanto, back in 1957, opened up what was then called the House of the Future inside of Disney World as part of Disney's Tomorrowland. Now, Tomorrowland is nothing more than predictive programming, showing you the future of what they have planned for us, the future. And people look at it and they go, oh, it's going to be so cool, the technology and all that stuff. Pretty much flat out showing you how there won't be cash, it will be a cashless society, there'll be electronic currency, and preparing people for the future and what they have planned for the future. That's all that Disney is. It's a gigantic MK Ultra operation is what it is. It's nothing more than a CIA operation. That's what it is. So Monsanto, from 1957 to 1967, had this House of the Future inside of Disneyland in California, which was a creation of the quote-unquote plastics division of Monsanto. They say in order to demonstrate the wonderful uses to which plastic would be put in the decades to come. So they use this as well for predictive programming on people, because inside of this house in 1957, this is before the microwave was a common thing in everyone's home. They talked about how every house would have a microwave inside of it. The microwave doesn't come out till 1967, after this House of the Future shuts down in Disneyland. And now you can't go into a house in America without the person owning a microwave. as the masses just decided it was better than an oven because it was faster than an oven. It doesn't matter that it's a radiation box inside of your home. It can't do you any harm in any way at all, having this radiation box. Oh, and it definitely doesn't take the nutrients and zap the nutrients out of anything you might put in there that has nutrients, but probably whatever you put in there probably doesn't have nutrients anyway, thanks to guess who? Thanks to Monsanto! Thanks to Monsanto and their genetically modified foods and their genetically modified seeds that they force everybody to use. You see how all this stuff works? You see how these elites are all tied in together? What a random coincidence, right? Now we're all familiar with Monsanto and what they've done to our food, what they're doing to us and getting away with it. Sure, let's have a chemical company produce seeds, genetically modified seeds. That makes perfect sense because that's what we need. Chemical seeds. Seeds that aren't natural. Sure, that's what the body needs. That's okay. And people just don't care because they're too busy on their phones, texting, taking selfies. And they go, oh, whatever, I'll go work out and I'll feel better about it. Not realizing that food and nutrition is so vital to their existence. But still, they see a commercial for Subway and they go, hey, Subway, $5 footlong, it's healthy. You're not eating real lettuce at Subway. You ain't eating real meat, that's for sure. And I'll tell you one thing, those tomatoes are genetically modified, okay? There ain't nothing healthy about Subway, but they just twist it in the media, right? Oh, get a salad at McDonald's. Oh, I'm sure that's a healthy salad. Probably got baby organs in it. Probably blood in the dressing that's provided. So here we have Monsanto working with MIT, the Institute of Technology, and Walt Disney. And thus, this is how you get predictive programming. This is how they show you what they're going to do, what the plan is beforehand. They program people, they prepare them for stuff like this, like microwaves, right? And then there's articles out there inside Monsanto because everybody who's been to Disney is brainwashed by Disney and only speaks good about Disney. You don't hear people bashing Disney. Oh, I love Disney. I love Bambi. I saw it when I was a kid. Don't you dare bash Beauty and the Beast, even though it's about a woman falling in love with an animal, for crying out loud. You get articles like this. Monsanto demonstrated its vision for future housing, emphasizing one word, plastics. Its House of the Future was displayed at Disney from 57 through 67, and it envisioned a future home for the then distant future of 1986. The house featured lavish conveniences, including microwave ovens and ultrasonic dishwashers. And while the House of the Future was a little silly around its plastic edges, a lot of its vision was actually correct. You think? I wonder why it was correct. Oh no, these people they were like, hey, these would be pretty cool ideas. They were conditioning people for these things. We do indeed use microwaves. We have a lot of plasticware and even plastic furniture. Monsanto's vision of easy cleanup flooring is very realistic. Some details like electric toothbrushes and intercom security systems ring true. So they had the intercom systems inside of this house, which did not exist, obviously, at that time. And then, in the 80s and 90s, every, new built home, for the most part, had an intercom system. You don't see them anymore, obviously. It's dated. But they were showing you all these things. So they put this inside of Disney World, inside of Tomorrowland, which is a theme park designed for mind control. It's all it really is, if you look at Disney, is it's a CIA operation, right? But they got cartoon characters walking around, and people think they get attached emotionally to these things because they grew up watching it. So they see it and they go, oh, but I remember growing up on Disney. It was clean. It was wholesome. It's not like you say, even though they're filled with not just predictive programming and propaganda, it's filled with perverted imagery and all sorts of stuff. Rituals, occult rituals, magic, stuff that people aren't trained to see and think are bad, but they are bad. And then look where Monsanto goes from there at that time. Being involved with plastics to being involved with creating seeds in agriculture, genetically modified seeds, poisoning us. It's a chemical company working hand in hand with Disney. Oh, that must just be a weird coincidence. Well, they don't work together anymore, Oh, right. I'm sure that they don't have any type of affiliation with one another anymore. Of course they do. These people who run all of these corporations, these chemical companies, and somebody might say, well, a chemical company and then Disney, they're two different things. No, they're not. Just because one of them presents itself as a Mickey Mouse cartoon and the other presents himself as an agricultural chemical company doesn't mean that they're anything different, because they're still working towards the same goal, which is not just a new world order. It's a brainwashed, chemically controlled, poisoned, dumbed down society. So you get Disney brainwashing people, showing you predictive programming everywhere in every which turn, because that's all Disney is. And then you get Monsanto's involvement, who's dumping chemicals in our food, who's giving us genetically modified foods with no nutritional value, that's killing people off, making people sick, and nobody says boo. That's how it works. These people are in bed with one another across all industry. And I'm going to be doing a video soon about Skull and Bones, because it's laughable if you look at Skull and Bones and the families involved with that, because just like, people are aware of the bloodlines of the Illuminati and they've read into stuff like that with the Rothschilds and the bankers, you should see Skull and Bones, the families involved, because it all links to the to control of all different industries: retail, industrial, railroad, food, banking, and finance. All the same stuff, all controlled by these secret societies. And even if these people don't look like they be in bed with one another on the outside, they all are. All of these major corporations. So I thought it was funny just going through and finding clips of Disney and the Magic Kingdom. I was trying to find some stuff on the actual Magic Kingdom and the design and the building of it. What fake story they had about why they picked the Magic Kingdom to be the name and all that crap. And I stumble upon, walking through the center part of Disney World, the camera on this documentary about Disney, and there's a sign to the right, Monsanto. And I just say to myself, because people message me, they go, where do you do a lot of content? I do a lot of content. And I, well, how, where do you find, if you're awake and you're on a conscious level and you're constantly thinking, all of this stuff, when you watch these shows, when you watch all of this stuff on a conscious level, awake, the signs are everywhere. If you're educated in who the enemy is, you see it. You just go, I wasn't looking for it. I just go, I guess there's another video idea. I got to do that. And I got to look into Monsanto's affiliation with Disney. It's laughable. There's so much stuff. It is everywhere. It is not hard to find if you're awake and you're looking on a conscious level when you're watching these things for signs, for symbols, and for codes and secret handshakes and color patterns, all of that stuff. This is how these scumbags operate. So this is Monsanto in 1957 having an affiliation with Disney World. Monsanto goes on to now control seeds, genetically modified seeds. Dumping chemicals in our food. It is unbelievable, the tie-ins that all these companies have with each other. And people don't say boo. They don't find it weird that Disney would be affiliated with them because they, I don't know. They just sponsored it. It was, the microwave came out. They were right about the microwave, huh? Who cares about the microwave? Of course they were right about the microwave. They wanted a microwave in everyone's house. The microwaves are radiation boxes. Why wouldn't they want them in your home? Everybody get a microwave. That's why they're so cheap. And even when they came out, they weren't that expensive. They wanted to make sure everybody could get one because they want it in your house. So they condition you to think it's cool, to think it's better than a conventional oven. And they go, it's faster. You can eat faster. Everything's quicker. You got to get to work more hours. Right? Get home, don't have time to cook. So you got to get the microwave. All mind control, folks. And the controlling aspect of it, look no further than your own government. Look no further than the CIA. Look no further than Disney, Monsanto, all these large corporations who people just randomly think are there, that, they worked really hard to achieve their dreams and they started Monsanto. And another company worked really hard, and Walt Disney, who has a 33 Masonic Club inside Disney World, yeah, he has had a vision and then built Disney World. Just purchased all that land randomly and built Disney World. Huh? See how they train people to think that way? That's why we always hear celebrities and people on TV go, chase your dreams, your dreams, your dreams. Because they label all this stuff when somebody looks at somebody else's success. They go, well, you can do that too. Chase after it. They know that you can't. They know that they back all these big corporations, and they back Disney, and they back this nonsense. They want you to think you could do that because they want you to waste your time achieving something you can't achieve. It's the mouse in a wheel scenario, right? You're constantly running after something you can't obtain because they control the wealth, the resources, and all of this stuff that we see. But they tell people, well, if Walt Disney started Disney, you could go after your dreams too, right? And isn't that the theme of Disney? Make your dreams come true, the magic of Disney. It's all an illusion. But they can tag it and they can go, well, don't question how Walt Disney got there. Don't question how some guy starts Monsanto and who's behind it and who funded it when it began and who funds it now. Why do they have so much control? Nobody looks at it from that perspective. They go, yeah, well, the guy was successful. He started a business and, man, he's a billionaire. Good for him. That's not how it works, ladies and gentlemen. It's not. It doesn't mean that there aren't people out there that have come up with ideas, that have been successful, that have made money, which nobody should strive for anyway. But there are people who can be somewhat successful, but you're never going to get to some type of level without them getting involved, either taking the company, stealing the idea. I mean, that's really how it works. And why do you think a lot of these people who end up making a lot of money are the ones the IRS always cracks down on? You don't hear the IRS going after Pepsi or any of these big corporations. You'll hear about, a small company that might become bigger and the IRS going after that person, because that's what the IRS is really there for, to make sure none of these people obtain a certain level of wealth so they can't, compete with them. They can't do anything as far as, starting something and becoming someone of power or influence, even though, nobody should look at anyone and say, oh, it's a powerful corporation or an influential person. They really should only be looking at Jesus Christ only as influence. But you know what I mean as far as the mind control and how people think and how people operate. So again, I'm ranting and going off topic. But this is it, folks. This is just more connecting the dots between all of these companies, all these corporations, how mind control and the CIA operate. And this has been a plan from the get-go. Predictive programming, Disney. Predictive programming, Monsanto. Right there for everybody to see. I thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families.